gentlemen, my name is Gary Singh Grewal. Uh, our today's program is uh, China's economy in the COVID-19 and vice versa, US and India comparison. Mr. Binod Gupta will be our host today. Uh,
Because I'm more interested in economies of the countries and the world because the economy determines the politics. So in that context, China is a very important in the last 20 years. China is very important factor in the world economy. It gives a lot of direction to the world, how the world moves. If China moves, world moves. Earlier it was USA. When USA was moving, world was moving. So things are reversing. So uh, I will have a mix of comparisons at the same time. What is GDPs of India and China, uh, USA, so that there will be a mix of everything. And first, I would like to say that population of China is 144 million. Uh, I think means 144 crore. I think should be exact. So the China has a land border of 21,000 miles. 14 countries are land borders with 14 countries. 14 countries, out of that, the 14 countries, the biggest land border is with the Mongolia, 4,677 kilometers. India, number two, 3,488. Russia, you can say Russia, India equal, 3,000. Russia is 3,640. Burma, 2,185. So there are other 10 countries more which are bounded by land border with China. So China is the only country which has maximum land border with largest countries in the world. So then uh, the China's economy is a command economy. If you see the period of last 40 years, they have a command system, but they have a planned economy. China make 5-year plans. They whatever plans they make, they implement it. So they make plans as a nation, but they implement at a local level. They have a system of governance where implementation takes place at the grassroots level in rural or urban areas. So basically China's economy grew 6.7% in 2018, 2.3% in 2019, 8.5 in 2020, and the figures of 2021 are coming. Even it will be more than that, maybe 15% or 17% higher than whatever happened in China. China have state-owned enterprise. Chinese system is that state is a very dominant part in the economy. State determines the destiny of Chinese economy. Second, there is a large domestic private sector. Private sector is very, very important in China also now, which was not 30 years back. So it is called a socialist market economy. So China make a policies which is commanded and controlled by the state, but they liberalize to the people according to whatever you want to do, entrepreneurship. So today in China, you have more billionaires than USA, more millionaires than more than USA. So they have developed a system unbelievable, unbelievable. So China's GDP per capita is $11,018. China's agriculture economy 7.9%, industry is 40.65%, service sector is 51.5%. So industry's major component and service sector is more in China. Large scale people in China, service sector. And in 2020, the inflation was about 2.9%. So China inflation remains in the range of 2 to 4, depending on the how much money supply is, so many factors, so combination of factors. In GDP per person in USA is $60,000. China is about $11,000. Japan, just adding to that, is $38,200. I do not count India because in the total scene in the world economy, if you want to learn about India, it's not very large. So I did not put it because they are very small. Per capita income is very small. Now, other feature of Chinese economy is they have largest energy producer in the world, largest energy producer, largest bullet trains in China, largest number, largest number of active cell phone users in China, largest number of people using internet broadcast users, broadband. China has its own navigation system. China is indigenously developing its own, so that they do not depend any outside the world. China has largest road network, largest network of railways, because they want to keep the population cheaper, transportation cost cheaper to every person, so that his cost of living does not increase. So I don't think any country has, even India does not have. China has what you call high-speed railways. Their high-speed railway covers 35,000 kilometers. So total railway network is 4 times, but 1/4 is high-speed railway network, and the maximum speed of railway in that 35,000 kilometer area is 350 kilometers per hour. So it means they have connected big cities, and big cities which are about 500 miles or 1,000 miles, in 3 hours they can go. So that's why there is a lot of movement of the people in China. And China has another important feature, 420 million bicycles. 420 million bicycles. No country in the world has. So both things, high speed, common, basically concept is common man's approach. If you are going 1 mile, go on cycle. If you are going in 1,000 miles, go on bullet train. And the cost is very less. So very interesting. So then China has revenue and expenditure. USA has a revenue, federal government have a revenue of $6 trillion in USA. Whatever revenue every year comes in USA, 6 trillion. Expenditure is 10 trillion. So USA is short every year about $3 to $4 trillion. Chinese has a revenue of 3.6 trillion, and their expenditure in the federal government is $5.4 trillion. India is very small, is a 480 billion revenue. Expenditure is double, 830 billion. Agriculture in China is 3.2%. Their economy of agriculture 3.2%. Mining and 2.4%. Manufacturing is 94%. 94. Imports $2 trillion. Where imports, they mainly import agriculture, manufacturing, and the other minerals products. They have foreign reserves, $3.2 trillion. $3.2 trillion foreign reserves.
That's the main thing. Yeah.
Middle class is 400 million, and the another important point is that China will have a population 50% by 2000, by the end of the century. So therefore, they are asking the people to give 3 children from 2025, because they are saying we will not have people working for the country. All people will be aging. Another important factor which happened in the COVID situation.
Let me
Tushar Hasan,
let me have
Tushar
Professor
Hasan.
Darji. The first question which comes to my mind is is instead of crunching all these figures and which is a very useful information in collecting the data which professor has done. It's a good professorial feat. But my question is, why is China growing so fast? That is a basic question. And what I find is that it wasn't doing this good before 1978. And when the GDP hardly ever rose to 6%. But since then, what have they done? That it is now consistently never less than 9%. Sometimes it has touched 13% also. And in the last 15 years, the average the income of a person has quadrupled. And if you compare it with India, they are still dithering. The fact that the government is saying that we have doubled the income of the farmer, and the farmer is saying that we are in debt and they're committing suicides, and they don't agree. And these two things never agree. And what the government is saying, they have no data to support. I think I will answer my own question also, and I would like Vinodji to certify on that one. I think the first thing they did was that simply not relying on the urban industrial complex, they liberalized the rural enterprise and investment. When I say, and they encouraged private investment in the rural enterprise development. But that is different from than total sellout, like the India was trying to do, to give the whole thing to two people. It was totally in opposite direction. They have allowed private investment, but they have a handle on it. And the reason India is not arriving at anything is because they are trying to do something totally different. एक पंजाबी ਦੀ saying है कि जे गुआंढी ਦਾ रूप नहीं ना ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲ ਸਕਦਾ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੀ ਅਕਲ ਤੇ ਲੈ ਲਓ. You see, if you cannot copy the good looks of your neighbor, at least try to copy their wisdom in the way. And I would say that what would you think about that, Vinodji?
That's a good one. I like that.
I think that China has Academy of Sciences. They have best Academy of Sciences. Number one. Number two, they created the agriculture economy, more manufacturing, because they have a very export potential. Now, somebody was telling me what happens in China in industry. My cousin went to China. He uses steel wire to manufacture. So what they do, suppose you are in China, the cost of electricity is 2 rupee unit. The cost of land is 1/10 what is in India. The cost of labor, by and large, is same as in India and China. So, fourth component is finance. In China, 3 components favor the industry. One is the electricity cost, land cost, and the loan cost. So that's why China has grown manufacturing, number one. Number two reason is that if there is a factory which say I am producing something at $1, or suppose they say $1.10. China says, okay, what we will do, you are exporting so much. If you are losing something, the state will take care of you. So incentives. They want the industry to run, create the jobs, and therefore what is called subsidy. So if it's because when you export things, you cannot get the price what you want because you are competing at the international level. So China had a system where they do like that. Number third. Now in China, just I was telling that there are 33 provinces. What is the system of governance? We should understand the model of governance. In China, 33 governors are appointed. What is their party system? Communist party, you can say. If in one state, a governor does not act okay, that the Communist party will say, remove this governor. So what the president will do? He will take that governor out, put a new governor. Now what happens? The president of the country becomes very popular. He says the bad governor has gone and the president has done a great thing. So you stop the dissension in the people. So they have democratic centralism basically.
Let me say one thing. It's not simply that. I think what they are trying to do is to get the accountability. If the governor is not up to the mark, then he is removed, and that is called pardarshita or accountability. If you are not functioning, then you are out.
I have a question.
Okay, Joe Sandhu.
Vinod ji, China's economy can be one of the best, but situation of what people live in there not very, very good. Okay? Because they are controlled by the dictators. A labor, class paid very little. And it's heartbreaking. I've been to China once, but I probably won't go again. A heartbreaking when you see the average people, the way they live. Can you tell me what that dictatorship will do to the public, those who are striving to live? Same way farmers cannot leave their farms until the laws are fully repealed. They cannot leave anywhere. They cannot go until they have a permission from the government. It means if anybody speaks in front of them, they will shoot them. They will kill them. There's not too long ago, they killed 2,000 people, innocent people. And I think that kind of economy, not very many people can live in, but they don't have no choice. Can you please answer on this, please?
Joe Sandhuji, I will like to tell you that in the world, if you see entire world, who control the state? Does it control for the people or for the corporates? In China, I do not say everything 100% perfect, but the people control the state, because if corporates control the state, leave USA is different. It's entirely different situation, entirely different country. So in China, if you see the 1970s figure, China was having a lot of drugs. Can you believe it? How was they poor? Poorest of the world. They could only do if they followed this system. If you see India, still 30% population is below the poverty line. So therefore, if it was necessary for China to do what they did, they don't want any person to take out China. They have a command system. If you follow good policies, you see the Amazon person who I don't know the name of, forget. He is richer than Amazon. So now China has a different, but you cannot say Tiananmen Square happened, it happens. That's fine. But Chinese leadership do not want to leave the state.
Can I very quickly, Gariji, can I quickly say just one word in support of Vinodji, what he is trying to do? Is that to answer Joe's question, what is the difference between the police shooting a farmer or the farmer shooting himself, like he's doing in Punjab?
That's very sad.
or drinking pesticide or shooting himself. Is there
Yeah,
any difference?
very good, very
And
good.
the other thing is is that while I was there for 2 months, I did not see. I was because of that SARS epidemic. They did not allow me to go to any city. So we were both in the countryside, just visiting different farms and farmers. I never saw any policeman shooting a farmer. But I can tell you that if I was in Punjab for 2 months, I would have seen many farmers hanging from the tree or have died during my 2 months.
Pachora, I will like to add just
Okay,
something.
let me Binoji, one by one, let me go there. Bajinder Sidhu.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਵਿਨੋਦ ਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ the way you presented it,
English.
yeah, the way you presented it as if it is one country with all this economic controls and policies, but just to add to what you said, I believe that all the 33 different states, you cannot go and set up a business any of those. Only the Shanghai has a zone which is called a liberalized zone, and the foreign companies can come and develop there. And other than that, it's purely a communist country. They change their trade policy and investment policy in a certain given zone, from Shenzhen to Shanghai area and Guangdong province. I don't know. Tell me if it's also allowed in other states other than this area.
I do not have information, but I will like to say it is the national government or the federal government. They are to take care of the people. So if they do
Right.
like that, what you are telling, it is for them, not us. We are discussing the academic part of the Chinese economy. So they sometime they may do it because they do not want any outside interference in changing their state power. So if they change the state power, so if you see the USA comparison today, the USA, China, you will be surprised. Then I will tell you one thing, what is the advantage, what I'm telling you. In January, February, March 2000, COVID started. China bought oil at $15 per gallon. Shoraji, China bought all the steel at the lowest prices ever in 2000, January, February, March, April. They bought all the aluminium, copper from the world markets.
Yeah, but they paid
And
for it.
They lowest price. No, the lowest price.
But that is the market price.
Okay, Binoji, you gave an answer of Bajinder. Let me add a little bit here. Since 70, 75, 80, manufacture, Binoji, what the China did it is a communist country, no connection with another country, anything. Nobody can enter there without their permission. They never leak out. And keep in mind, only they capture that something, only two things: cost reduction and deliver in JIT. JIT is just in time. It includes everything. This is a language was used in manufacturing in Detroit, okay, automotive industry. Once you deliver JIT just in time and with cost reduction, JIT means law and order comes that. India can beat that time. I'm talking about 75, 80, that I was totally because they have English, they have professional people. The problem about India, we cannot handle a democracy, number one. Democracy was used that to be keep it corruption only. We are only doing corruption, that's all. We never become serious to deliver that JIT just in time. China become so powerful, they were dumping steel that time because government is helping to the suppliers. So then they also every place so they try to be just like a mafia. I can say the word. This is not fair. This is a country. You maybe don't like Trump because he that, hey, China. Some people like him that way because listen, you are dealing with other countries. I'm very bad feeling about India. India is the worst country in my life like this because they cannot handle a democracy. Keep in mind, they can beat China. But right now you are saying China. What they get it? They just they use a manufacturing play, house, such a big a design to them. Every design we did it. Amrik Sidhu knows. I'm doing a design. We gave a actually technology, design everything, just they have manufactured the control to deliver it properly. That's all. Somebody have to change India like that. They can beat it again. Okay, Amrik Sidhu ji, you please say something if you can, please.
Okay, Ji, thank you. Thank you, Gary Ji, for hosting the meeting and everybody for giving me the opportunity. Vinod Ji, I agree with you, but I see China as a giant corporation. China, that's how it operates. If a governor is not performing well, they remove him and put another governor in his place so that he performs well. Well, in a country like India or the USA, you can't do that. A governor is elected and you just can't remove him. So that makes it a little difficult. And then also, like Pashara ji have always brought up the words of Pakna ji. And when he was talking to Pandit Nehru ji, he said, Pandit ji, you're talking about the freedom of India. I am talking about the freedom of Indians. And the same applies here. China's economy is great for China. Is it as great for Chinese?
Ashok ji, Ashok
Yeah.
Gupta, please.
Yeah, my comments is one thing is what can we learn from China? I think one thing happened, you all know it. My brother went to China. He worked for GM for 50 years. He went to China several times. They have stolen so much technology from us.
Yeah.
You know better. They have stolen so much technology in every area.
Yeah.
And that has to be stopped, basically. And I think if you can get the manufacturing back here, that's the only solution.
Yeah.